Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Whose Fault Is It Anyways? Today we have a Crusader Techies who feels like there was, various feedings going on from everyone, some mistakes. What can he do to be better? He thinks he did all right. Itemization may be an issue, which I agree it's a big issue, but it's not even your biggest issue. We'll get into that in a little bit. We'll start with the itemization though. You've chosen to go boots in this lane. It's not the worst thing you could build, but it doesn't give you the best benefit this lane. It's better against melee heroes because you can kite them so that they can't right-click you back. Boots into ranged heroes as a ranged hero yourself means like at some point you're going to stand still to attack, and because they're also ranged heroes, they're going to attack you back, and at that point the stats from boots don't really do anything. It's better to get damage through like cheap stats like Iron Branches, especially for a universal hero like Techies, because you'll get extra armor, extra damage, extra regen, all of that, and hit harder when you both hit each other. Techies is the longest ranged hero in the game, so you should be looking to do lots of right-clicking. You didn't really do it as much this game. I counted it for you. In the first 5 minutes since getting into the laning stage, you do about 23 attacks. I pulled up a random pro pub match against two ranged heroes, and they did about 36 attacks in the same time frame, but they were also against Eidolons from Enigma, and they attacked those Eidolons like 10 to 20 times, and they also rotated mid once. So in that time frame, they did about double your amount of attacks, and you can kind of see why the extra damage you get from those cheap stats is going to add up. So in this lane, I might do something like a double set of tangos into like 3 Iron Branches, a Circlet, and a Blood Grenade, something like that, right? And 5 extra all stats translates to a lot of extra damage for all of those attacks you're already looking to do. So it's not like free damage, but you're amplifying damage that you already meant to do, and I think that would help out your laning stage a lot. Having said all that, your laning stage isn't going too bad. You've picked up a kill and an assist, and you decide to rush the Arcane Boots. I don't hate this if it happens every now and then. You know, sometimes you just pick up the kills. Sometimes something like this happens, which is like, oh no, my carry died. I'm so sad. Oh no, now I have to farm the lane. Oh no, right? So if it happens here and there, it's fine, but generally cheaper items, small items would be in your best interest. Now beyond that, once you reach these Arcane Boots, or perhaps you've gone for smaller items, you reach a point where you're doing like Arcane Boots, let's say like a wand, some raindrops maybe to tank some of these spells, give you mana regen. Techies needs a lot of that, right? If you had those extra Iron Branches, they can just sit in your extra slots. Later you're going to need Dust, the Sentries, and Observers, of course. So we can kind of like plan out the slots you're going to use. Some good items this game, you've got 3 right-clicking cores, all focused on physical damage, so Solar Crest is going to be great this game. Drums, Pavis, also all really solid. It'll allow you to play like a faster tempo game. You could go like Greaves if you wanted. You have a lot of options. Glimmer Cape, Force Staff, they're also going to be fine for like kiting. There's magic damage, right? Those are all solid options. Or you could queue up a Lincoln Sphere at 5 minutes and 18 seconds as a position 5 hero who isn't meant to farm very much. You're going to plan to build a very expensive 4,600 gold item with components such as a 1,300 recipe, a 1,200 cornucopia, and a 2,000 gold ultimate orb. No easy build up into any of these, no actual benefit to your team until you finish the 4,600 gold item as a position 5 hero. Is Lincoln's even that good this game? It is going to block some spells, and that's useful, but heroes rush Lincolns, specifically core heroes rush Lincolns, when it blocks a critical spell that means certain death. So we're talking about like Legion Duel, Beastmaster Roar, Bane's Fiend's Grip, Charge from Spirit Breaker kind of works because it's not like a long cooldown spell, but you can't see him coming. He knows where you are, right? It's very dangerous for certain heroes. So that's kind of like why you'll see Lincolns really early. As a support, your individual life is not so important, but also in this game, like you don't see those huge cooldown abilities. Now there are some like chain abilities, like oh no, Vortex into Sand King stun, into Rocket, stuff like that, and that is where the Lincolns could be nice to like block that first spell. But you're buying it right away, which means maybe the 20 to 30 minute mark as a support, you're gonna pick it up. And at that stage, is it like guaranteed death if one of the stuns goes off, right? Against a Bristleback, against an Alchemist, do you think that hero will instantly die if they get hit by one stun? Probably not, right? Lincoln is better the later into the game you go, where the enemy, like, they get one stun, and that is the death. Like, even ignoring LC Duel, all of those kind of things, like, when Sand King stuns, and you just don't get to press any of your buttons, you instantly die, that's when Lincolns can be good. You won't really experience that typically like this early into the game. Plus, it's just so slow for you as a position 5. It's much better to buy smaller components. For example, the Ultimate Orb is literally a finished item, and then the other half of the Lincolns is a second item for you, and the buildups are easier. You get the Sage's Mask, fluffy hats, different small components into these kind of items, wind laces. So all of those items that we mentioned, and if you need more ideas, I got an itemization video for you, right? Those will all be better for you than this Lincoln's. You also bulk buy sentries like you're shopping at Costco. You could have stopped here at 3 and that would have been solid, but you're going to go ahead and buy all 8 of them right now. You are not going to need 8 sentries right away. You're investing like 200 gold, let's say, because I'd say like 4 sentries, fine. It's already kind of on the luxurious end of like, oh, look how many sentries I have. But 4, sure. You're not going to need sentries 5 through 8, which means you could buy a magic stick, for example, and then get value from that magic stick. And then as you use your first 4 sentries, you'll have money to buy the next set of sentries. So I recommend something like a 1-to-2 ratio, 1 observer, 2 sentries. I'm not going to talk too much further on it or your other warding mistakes because I have other videos on it, right? We have a whole warning video concept. I know I'm plugging a lot of my own stuff and giving you homework, but I do think it would be good and clear up some of these mistakes so that we don't have to cover them again here. You're going to get hit by this rocket here, and then Storm is going to zip in to kill you. You're probably thinking, damn, I wish my Lincoln Sphere was done, but oh, alas, it's so expensive. It's 4,600 gold, and I'm just a poor support. I can't finish it quite yet. I wish some kind of item, 1,000 to 2,000 gold range, with easier buildups to give me value right now in case I haven't finished the full item, but because it's cheaper, I could have finished the full item. Oh, if only any of those existed to help me stay alive in this case. And yet, alas, they do not exist. Woe is me. I die. Going forward, what I'd like to see from you is to enable your team, as is the support role, right? We are supporting them to do whatever they need to do, and that's usually the hard part of supporting is figuring out what that is, but it typically involves playing with them, helping them do whatever they need to do, covering their weaknesses. So, for example, Techies is good because he's got this stun right now, then he's got this AoE disarm, a slow, strong magic burst from all these abilities, so he can be very active right now, and then you have a flexible itemization, which we're not going to see right now. I mean, not like this flexible, but relatively flexible to buy any of the items we talked about, and you use those to work with your team to get a lot done in the early game and try to like close out the game from there. Or we could not do any of that and walk off on our own. You may not notice this, but on the minimap, all 5 heroes are showing right now, and 3 are over here right next to you. Again, you may not be noticing that. You're checking for any 6th heroes in the game. Turns out there's none. I wonder how that fight's going. I'm not really sure. Oh, hey, look. Things happened. I guess I'll join now. I'll blast off. Nice, now we're contributing. Where are you going? That's it. I used my spells. I'm out. My mind cooldown is off. I have to go place this behind this tree, guys. This is critical to the mission. Help them. Help your team. Support them. If you're here earlier, right, these 2 are about to overextend, pushing up here, and they're going to die. And that is a little bit on them. But if you helped with this sooner, perhaps you get the kills much easier. Perhaps the enemies don't do as much damage. So instead of like 2 low health heroes right here, maybe this guy's at like 2/3 health. Maybe this guy's full health because he's alchemist, right? He's regenning a ton. He's got the wrong build again. I don't know, right? But you didn't really contribute anything. You didn't like pitch in any items to like protect these guys, to make it easier to get the kills. You didn't really stay to use your abilities or even attack. You're over here placing mines in case anyone rotates over, even though you know where all 5 heroes are. And this kind of mine placement only really works in your current bracket, because eventually people are going to develop reaction times and they're not going to just walk through 5 mines and die like this. So when you place all your mines like that, it will work for now against bad players. You'll get kills, it'll feel good, you'll win the game. Then you play against good players and they won't let that happen, and then all your mines will just sit here or be farmed, not doing anything, and then you're not gonna be contributing anything, and then you're gonna lose, you're gonna drop back down, you're gonna keep doing the exact same thing, and you're just gonna like keep bouncing back and forth. It'll work against bad players, it won't work against good players. So a couple mines in these kind of locations is good, right? Because even when they're smoked, when they're invisible, the mines will activate, and that allows you to know when people are coming. It is information. You can set it up in places like Roshan against a hero like Ursa. You can place it around the twin gates so that when people pop through, they don't get a chance to react. Putting it on the high ground areas like this are really good, so when they walk up, even if they beep and they try to back off, they can't see the mine, so they can't deward them. or demine them, I guess, right? The way you placed it is actually completely manageable by the enemy team if they send a ranged hero to do it, to farm up all of these mines. But Sand King, you know, he handled it. He cleared it at the cost of his life for the team. But eventually, you'll play against a Sand King who walks here, hears the beep, and just turns around. And then all your mines will just sit here, and he'll tell them, Gyro, go walk through here and farm every single mine. And Gyro will go, I love money, and he'll come through here. Since you've bought those 8 sentries, you still got 5. You can see here why that could be something else. It could be a stick, it could be a clarity, right? You're going to now be overly defensive, and that's going to kind of be the rest of the game. So if you want to clear out mid, you want to stack, that's fine, but let's make our way back to the team. Let's go join them. Let's help out. We don't really need to be on our half of the map where the enemy hasn't really been this whole time. Triple mine placement. You know, it is, you know, kind of in this pathway. It's kind of useful in that sense. It's on the high ground. Your team has lost 1 tower, which at least is in this mid lane. The others, though, are still up. Your team has taken all of the enemy tier 1 towers. You should be on the enemy's half of the map. You're currently on your own half of the map. And now as you start placing more, this is pretty bad. This is like when you have a dog and it keeps peeing or pooping in your house and you're like, no, you can't do that, right? So you got to go interrupt it, you got to pick it up and you'll be like, no, bad Techies, bad, over here. And you got to put them outside, have them shit in the neighbor's yard. I mean, don't actually do that, right? Real pets, take care of them. Respect your neighbors, all that. But this is a video game. This is war. Go put your shit over here. Why are you putting so much over here defensively where an enemy hero hasn't even walked once? No one has ever been here. You end up sitting on your own half of the map, just mining your stuff. But these are resources that are just sitting there. It's kind of like when you buy all these sentries and you've got a bunch of money that doesn't need to be used right now. You are using mana and cooldowns in places that aren't really needed right now. This one's good. At least you're speeding up your Lincoln's timing by a little bit by farming creep waves. You're shoving it out. That's good for your team. When you place them like this spot is good. So actually, I don't really have a complaint on that one. 3, that's enough. 3 is the combo, right? They walk up the middle, boop, boop, boop. If they don't react in time, triple explosion. 3 is good. Please move on. No. Bad Techies. You don't need 4 mines here. It will offer a little more chance of killing them, right? But it means you can never blast off into like the triple mine combo if you're constantly sitting at 1 to 0 charges because you keep using these defensively. You do come and do this Tormentor at 20 minutes. This is really good. Don't change this at all. That's excellent. But your mine placement, please, God, Techies. No. Over here. Go mine the enemy's half of the map. Here. Go get these spots. Go get it over here. You know, Lotus Pool. These pathways, right? Get other entrances over here, power runes. This is enough. 21-minute rune, pretty good, but it could be better if you came over here, played with your team, got the kills on this half, and then steal the enemy wisdom's rune, leave your mines here, put your observers and sentries, and then retreat to your half at some point, take your own wisdom rune. That would be a lot better. Now you're over here farming creeps, so you weren't with your team, and you have no idea that Drow just got picked off here because her Shadow Blade ended early, and she wasn't paying attention to that. But if you were in this area with your team and perhaps had a different set of items, you could have helped her with those items, you could have stunned in the area, get the Storm and the Ursa with the follow-up kill from Alchemist. None of these potential opportunities are aware to you at all, because you're just here hitting creeps. Now, I don't want to be too harsh. I know map awareness is not the easiest thing for everyone, but you gotta look over. You gotta see that they are messing up all of their ultimates, which means you have turnaround potential. That's why it's important to gather information and be ready to help out your team. When this starts to happen, you can win this fight. You can blast off here, activate your disarm to disarm all of these heroes. If you had mine charges instead of using them all like over here and on creeps and all that and placing it like back here, you could blast off and drop several mines to burst off the Ursa and the Gyro right away. Ursa's got no ult, which you would have seen earlier from over here, and you can actually do something. Alchemist is low, sure, but he's Alchemist, he's healing. Buff him up with your spells. At least use your Lincolns on him, you finally finished it. Bristle's full health, Earthshaker's full health. Your team can fight here. But what do? You just watch. You pressed a reactive taser, you thought about going in, then you were like, nah. You should at least try. Even if you think it's not going to work out, you're the support. The fight is right there. You should go in and try to make a difference. And you will eventually learn like when you can or can't. And when you can't, then it's fine. You leave those fights. But I promise you, you could have absolutely gotten several kills here, and the fight would go differently if you pitch in. So if you're ever unsure, I prefer to err on the side of going in as a support, trying to save cores, trying to turn the fight, and then tone it down as you like see which ones work and which ones don't work. You can figure it out from there. This kind of defensive mining is sort of okay because your team is all dead and we're scared to move out. You don't want to waste the cooldown charge. That's fine. Place it, and then I would go home to heal up on mana. But you keep placing them, and so you're never really building up charges, and there's no real need to because this is not a great spot. Like if you're at 3 charges and you want to place one, that's fine with me. But you can build up to 3 charges, right? So you don't need to always place them. Hang on to them. You walked out here, which... was it like maybe a little dangerous? These sentries are like overlap, but whatever, right? You're out here. Why not place a mine here, kind of close to an entrance of people invading in? Why not place one out here or over here or here, right? Why are you walking back to place them back here where no one has been? Stop. Go put these mines in more useful places. If you happen to be retreating through this area and you got a lot of charges, that's okay. But do not choose to come back to your own half of the map, way deep in your base, when your team has been playing aggressively this entire game. Stop doing this! You respawn, you come out here, you place these. I'd probably say maybe rejoin your team. This is them like going way too deep, right? But you should probably be heading over here to place wards for them, to place mines for them over here. Ignoring that, as a like generic spot, this is pretty good because they're at that high ground point. It's near a power rune, so as the enemy comes by, maybe tries to grab the rune, comes up here, or your team tries to go steal the rune and then retreat back as they're being chased, these mines are pretty good. You don't need this one. And God knows you don't need the rest of them that you're also about to place in this area. 3 is enough to do a lot of damage to anyone going through here and to scout people moving through this pathway. You don't need to keep placing them. These 2 are kind of okay because on another entrance, but it's really getting to be a little bit overkill because someone coming through this entrance, if they want to do anything, they're probably coming through here, or they're going through the tower, which you'd see, or they're like wrapping all the way around here. So like, I don't know, putting the mines on this half might be like more reasonable, but kind of okay. This one though, not so useful. This low ground one, what's the point of this? They walk over, it's gonna beep, and they're gonna see it, and they're gonna farm it. You don't need low ground ones, especially when they're gonna come like this, right? You've already got all of these. Just save up the charges. Alchemist TP's up here. You should stand behind him, back him up with your abilities, your Lincoln Sphere in case anyone goes on him, in case he finds anyone, you guys can stun into stun. You come over to here to place another defensive mine on the low ground, and then at least you walk up. You see something going on, you're like, okay, what's happening over here? You place a sentry, which you do have quite a few of, but this is where dust would be better, so that if he walks to the edge of your sentry range, you still have vision of him. He's also slowed by dust. You have a slot open, so this is where dust would be good, but I'm glad you're at least bringing a sentry. You throw some spells, and then you're just like, I'm out. If you want to call a full team retreat, that's fine. Alchemist is in. Alchemist is your mid-hero. You can't just walk away to go mine defensively. You have to at least look at what he's doing to know if you can help or not. And if you were over there, you could be using Lincolns, you could be using your AoE stun, AoE disarm, you could be putting down mines to distract them. Now he's dead, the rest of the team is here, now you decide to come in. I don't know what the team comms were, so like, I don't know, maybe this was just like kind of a misplay, but I want to show you, you come in here on your own. Look how long you live, because AoE stuns, AoE disarms, they're pretty good. Lincolns, which you can use on your allies, right? You live so long that Bristleback comes in and he kind of saves you and he starts doing some damage and he's going to run down this Medusa, save your life. You could have just done this off the start with the Alchemist. Now, you have won this fight, right? Bristle's cleaning up. You saw Storm TP back. So this would be an excellent time to play aggressively. We have no mine charges because we've been using them all, but you will build them up. and you can come over here. You can do some de-warding with your 6 sentries. You can place an observer somewhere on their half of the map. You can mine up here, prepare for Roche. You can help Bristleback feel confident over here. You do have a Lincoln, so you are going to regenerate health and mana. This is the perfect time for this. Or I can place a defensive observer on this cliff because I'm really not sure if 10 mines is going to be enough to let me know if anyone walks through here for the first time this game. So let me put an observer to buy myself more time to place more defensive mines here. One more for good measure. Maybe it's not. Maybe I need another one. Maybe I should like and subscribe. Nah, forget that. Let's head to the mid lane instead of playing with Bristleback up here. Let's go head over here. Whoa, what is this? Mines just randomly exploding out of nowhere? Perhaps that's a sign that a smoked hero is here. 2 of which are Sand King and Storm Spirit, who are alive and could be here and could jump me and kill me. I am pretty low health. Let me use the information I've gathered from these exploding mines here at a pathway, of which 3 was enough, and then these 5 are kind of overkill, not quite necessary to get this kind of information, but they're here anyways. Whatever. I got the information. I will now use it to play accordingly. Or I could just blast off into the creep wave at low health to expose where I am for the smoked heroes to kill me. Anyways, kind of lucking out that they're low health, I guess, from your mines, which is fair, but probably still a risk you shouldn't really take. Sometimes you're going to get punished for this. You come up and replace these. These were good mines, but I'm not really sure if you know why they're good mines, and you're just, like, placing them. Techies. No. Over here. Over here. Here. Good Techies. Over here. No more. No more on this side in your own house. We live here. It's a little gross. Think of your living conditions, Techies. No more. Please. Oh. I am glad to see mines on the enemy's half of the base, but honestly, like 1 or 2 at an entrance is enough. When you put it on the enemy's half, you're not really like doing it for damage, because like when you, that's not a good example because there's too many. Oh God, I guess we have to use one of these. So like ignore all these other mines, right? When you have 3 like this, they walk up, they proc all 3, boom, 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 and it's damage, and they can't see it because of the high ground, right? When you're coming from the enemy's half of the base, right, they're probably walking this way. They're walking this way, which means they're at least at even like seeing level ground to ground, or like high ground to low ground. So we're really using these mines as like scouting mines rather than trying to damage them. So you really don't need to clump up this many because it's not going to work against anyone with a reaction time faster than 5 seconds. So it's working for now. If you take all of these mines and use them on a tower, you'd probably have this tower and maybe this tower, maybe 2, right? And you're progressing the game. If you take all of these mines and use them on creeps, you'd probably be speeding up your old Lincoln Shiva's classic item combo timing, right? By like 5 minutes. If you take all of these and use them in aggressive plays, scout out Roche, Twin Gates, Power Runes, use them when you like stun in, triple mine, get an extra kill, right? Lots of opportunities you'd be scouting out. All of that potential is just sitting on your half of the base in these mines. Or maybe you like this. Maybe you enjoy 60-minute games and you find it funny when people walk through like 10 mines. I find it funny too. I'm not here to tell you how to like enjoy a video game, and if this is what you want to do, then keep doing it. You're not going to be super popular with your teammates, but this is where this will work. The higher you go, this is not going to be any good. So if you are a Techies player and you do want to gain MMR, I highly recommend you don't replicate what you've seen here and you try doing some of the stuff I have talked about, because I think it'll be far more effective for gaining MMR. Thank you for watching. If you want to be in the next episode, leave a comment with the information you see on the screen and you might get picked. See ya!